We're going to talk about DeAndre Hopkins potentially coming to Atlanta, but help us reach our next milestone in subscribers, 13,000. And if we reach 13,000 subs and the Falcons sign DeAndre Hopkins, producer Rolly and I will be going live for that. So help us reach our milestone, 491 subs away. Let's get there soon. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about DeAndre Hopkins potentially coming to ATL after ESPN linked the star wide receiver to the Falcons following his release from the Arizona Cardinals. So Jeremy Fowler included the Falcons as one of 9 potential destinations, and I know the Falcons might not seem like the front runner, or they're not a contending team compared to the Chiefs or the Bills on that list, but I am here to say DeAndre Hopkins is from Central South Carolina, a town just outside of Clemson, just 115 miles away from Atlanta. So if he wants to move back to the Southeast and come back towards home to end his career, kind of wrap it up at least, Atlanta definitely would make some sense. Now, the Falcons have some money to spend, not bukus of it, but they definitely have some money to spend with the 20th most cap space available. Now, let's look at Jeremy Fowler's destinations. You got the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, neither of which have a lot of money to spend, just over $1 million. Now, the cap's always a myth, and you could put a lot of money into a signing bonus and keep it a low cap hit, but they would definitely have to still move some money around. The Jets, okay, the Cowboys, the Saints, then you've got the Browns, potential reunion with Deshaun Watson, the Giants need a wide receiver. There's the Falcons, and after that, the Patriots. Now, I'm going to do a breakdown of each one of these 9 teams later on in the video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But let's talk about Hopkins as a player first, okay? The last 2 seasons has not played a full year, but he's still one of the best wide receivers out there. Anyone that says otherwise simply has not watched football on Sunday, because DeAndre Hopkins putting up 700 yards in 9 games without Kyler Murray as his quarterback the entire time is a very impressive accomplishment right there. So chime in down in the comment section. Should the Falcons sign D-Hop? What do you think? Yes or no? I'm really struggling to find a good reason why they shouldn't sign DeAndre Hopkins. It'll get butts in seats, and this team is better with D-Hop. But if you've got one, I'm all ears. Sound off in the comment section below. Here's what Jeremy Fowler had to say. Atlanta has been unafraid to spend this offseason while enjoying the fruits of a quarterback on a rookie contract. Its pass-catching core is young, but the presence of Hopkins could spice up Arthur Smith's offense. Like Cleveland, Atlanta GM Terry Fontenot has aggressively pursued signings and trades over the past 3 months. And the Falcons have definitely been aggressive in free agency. They've given out lots of big contracts. Jesse Bates, 4 years, $64 million. David Onyemata, $335. Caleb McGarry with an all-time steal, I think, 3-year, $34 million. Caden Ellis, another 3-year deal. Taylor Heineke, 2-year, $7 million a pop. So the Falcons have had no issue with spending some of the other Arthur's money. Now, I wonder if they got some left over in the bank, right, to get D-Hop down to ATL if that's what their hearts desire, because they could stand to add another wide receiver. Now, I had someone comment on a previous video that was being too mean to the Scotty Millers and the Kadeo Hodges of this depth chart here. Do not be so harsh on them. I'm not going to apologize. Scotty Miller as your wide receiver 3 is abysmal. All-time name, cool burner. He's going to have some nice moments here and there. But for him to command a good amount of snaps, that is not what you want in your wide receiver room. Matt Collins, after a 1-year blimp in Vegas, is also the wide receiver 2. And Drake London, who is no doubt wide receiver 1, is still only entering his 2nd season. Like, I don't think he's going to walk on this field and be a 1,500-yard guy in year 2. When you stack them up, like, compare DeAndre Hopkins to the entire Falcons wide receiver room. It's not even close. It's honestly hysterical. 71 touchdowns for Hopkins in his career versus a combined 20 from Drake London to Matt Collins to Scotty Miller to Penny Hart to J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. You add them all up, and it is a blowout in favor of Hopkins, right? In only 145 games compared to their combined 317, which some of them only play in special teams. It's not a true, accurate representation of what they did as a wide receiver, but nevertheless, no one, and I mean no one, can make a real argument that this wide receiver room can be better without DeAndre Hopkins. Now, Hopkins may want to sign with a contending team, right? there's probably a good percentage of people watching right now who want to get DeAndre Hopkins. But does DeAndre Hopkins want to come to Atlanta? Like, that is probably and definitely the biggest hurdle we have to get over here. And to you guys, more importantly to DeAndre Hopkins, I've got 2 words, okay? Those 2 words, money talks, right? It is a thing that we all can agree on. Money talks, and the Falcons can get some money and spend it on DeAndre Hopkins. So if the Bills and the Chiefs at $1-ish million in cap space don't have the money for Hopkins, who might want north of $15 million, all of a sudden Atlanta might be sitting there thinking, we are not the ugly girl at the ball, right? We took our glasses off, right? We put our hair down, and all of a sudden, we're not looking so shabby. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's show, make sure you get your own Bijan Robinson jersey. Chatsports.com/BijanATL. That link's in the comments and the description of today's video. Don't be the one bum at the first Falcons game not wearing a Bijan Robinson jersey because you got on an old Falcons jersey. Get the new ones today using our exclusive link. So how do the Falcons even make a pitch for DeAndre Hopkins? I'm going to do my best here. It's not going to be easy. We're going to try. For the Bills, no money. Chiefs, broke boys. Neither of those teams have a lot of money. They definitely could make it happen if they really, really wanted to, but it would require some flexibility. The Jets, they've already made a lot of moves for wide receivers. They signed Allen Lazard and Mecole Hardman. They might be set, okay? The Cowboys, they hardly do anything in the offseason. So them getting Brandon Cooks was probably too much for Jerry Jones to handle. There's no way he wants to make another move this offseason. He's busy on his yacht. The Saints suck, so that was easy. The Browns also have too many wide receivers. They traded for Elijah Moore. They drafted Cedric Tillman. They might feel content for their wide receiver room. The Giants, it's too cold up there. DeAndre Hopkins, his entire career, where has he lived? South Carolina, Houston, Arizona. You think he wants to go play a bunch of games in December at home? Absolutely not. He has played in a dome as a home player his entire NFL career. You can keep that trend going in ATL. The Patriots, they have Bill O'Brien, the clown who traded him away for a bag of peanuts. No way he wants to go play for New England. So while the Falcons may not have the best resume compared to those other 8 teams, you can kind of carve out a path. It's not a very wide path. It's a small fairway, but you can try to hit that ball up the middle and keep it on the green. So those are some possible DeAndre Hopkins, Sudoku type hurdles we're jumping through to have the Falcons look pretty good. Now, an interesting follow-up from Jeremy Fowler I thought you guys should see was a read I got on DeAndre Hopkins and why some teams believed he would get released was $19 million salary always prohibitive, even if non-guaranteed. Teams that wanted rework deal at lesser clip weren't convinced he would take it. Odell Beckham's big money Odell Beckham's big money made taking less even tougher. Now, Odell Beckham Jr. got a 1-year, $15 million contract. OBJ didn't play a snap of football last year, and the Ravens gave him $15 million. If I'm DeAndre Hopkins, right, and you look at what the two have done side by side over the last couple of seasons, if that's what OBJ gets, and they're similar age range, and OBJ's had 2 ACL tears in the last 3-4 seasons, and DeAndre Hopkins has been relatively healthy, minus some blimps in 2021. Yeah, Hopkins has a great argument to make to get more than $15 million. So if the conversation starts for him at 16 or 17, and he's looking for maybe more money over ring chasing, and the Bills and the Chiefs and the Cowboys can't stack up to that, well, the Cowboys can, but the other ones can't, maybe the Falcons could sneak in. It's a long shot. I'm definitely saying that right now, but I can see how it makes sense. So predict it. Where will Hopkins sign? I think the Bills might. The cap's a myth. You restructure some deals, you release one guy, and poof, you've already got enough money. Plus, you saw there OBJ's base, cap hit this year was relatively low, so a team can slap some void years on there. They can put a big signing bonus on to reduce the cap hit. It can get done if they really, really want it to. Falcons, a little bit more easier, but hey, predict it for me down in the comment section. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you to all of our service members, the brave men and women who lost their lives protecting our freedoms. We remember you on Memorial Day, and thank you to all those who paid the ultimate sacrifice.